Hey, sweet friends, Miss Hendry here. We are going to finish up our story about Abraham, Lot, and Isaac. All right, we've been studying Genesis 13, 5 through 17 this week. We've been talking about a sweet man named Abraham who loved God. He was very wealthy. He had a lot of cattle and a lot of servants. He also had a nephew named Lot, and he was kind of like Abraham's son, but he was not his son. He was a special nephew that Abraham took care of. He lived with Abraham. But Lot also had a big family and a lot of animals and servants. And so after a while, Abraham and Lot's servants started fighting. This made Abraham so sad. He did not want his family to fight. So Abraham told Lot that they needed to separate. They looked over a huge valley and saw a beautiful land, and it was all theirs. And Abraham said, Lot, you choose where you want to take your sweet family, and wherever you choose, I will not be mad. I'll go right with your plan. And so Lot looked out over the valley and he saw the very best patch of grass, the very best area, and he chose that for himself. And he took his family and he left Abraham. Abraham was not even mad. He shared. He was a great friend, and he was a great family member. He was also a great Christian. All right, and so one day God had given Abraham a promise. He was going to give him a son. Through that son, he would make his family so huge that it would be as big as the sand that is by the sea. Do you know how much sand there is by the sea, or the stars in the sky? There are a ton of stars in the sky. And so they waited and waited and waited. Abraham and his wife Sarah believed that God would answer their prayers, but after a while, they were getting kind of sad. They waited and waited and waited for a sweet baby. Abraham and Sarah were getting very, very old, and they began to wonder if God had forgotten about them and forgotten his promise. One day, God sent two strangers to visit them and remind them of God's promise. They came to talk to Abraham, and they immediately told him, Hey, have you forgotten about the promise that God told you about having a son, about having a huge family? And Abraham, kind of said, No, I haven't forgotten, but man, me and my wife Sarah are very, very old now. And while they were talking, Sarah was hiding in the tent, and she was listening to what they were saying. And so eventually one of the angels said, And so, Abraham, God sent us to tell you that you are going to have a son by next year. Next year, you will have a son. And Sarah heard this, and she thought it was so crazy that it could never happen because she was already 99. And so she started to giggle. She started to laugh. And the angels asked Abraham, they said, Why is she laughing? Why is she laughing? Does she not believe God? So let's see what happens. God does not forget his promises. When Sarah was 99, she had a son. They named him Isaac, which meant laughter, because before Sarah was laughing because she thought, wow, God must be crazy because I'm old and I could never have a baby. But now she was laughing because, man, God is so good and we cannot even understand his ways. So God gave Abraham and Sarah a promise that they would have a son, and that is exactly what happened. How awesome. Bye, guys.